Here's our image number 1 AP view of the knee. This is the first image we'll be working with. First, we will take this image and discard the color information by selecting grayscale. I'm going to go ahead and say discard and don't show me this again. The image is now a grayscale image. Now we're going to convert this into glowing edges, which is the first step really in our line art creation. Under stylize, I'm going to choose glowing edges, and immediately you see a preview image on the left of what our final image will sort of look like. There are 3 sliders on the right hand side. I'm manipulating the first one, which says edge width. It controls the width of the glowing edges basically, and the second slider controls how bright those edges that we just defined are. And last but not least, it's the smoothness. The smoothness is a little bit more difficult to understand. The less smooth it is, the more detail or grain it's going to show in our diagram, and the more smooth we make it, if you will, the less detail and grain it's going to show. So play around with the sliders and get it to a value that you're comfortable with, that you're happy with, and once you're done, go ahead and hit the OK dialog box. For this image, I think this looks just about right. So here is our resulting image. Now let's convert this into black on white instead of white on black by inverting the image as we see here. The image is inverted. We're almost finished. The image looks a little bit too gray to me, so I'm going to adjust the levels to bring out more of the darkness and maybe get rid of some of the detail in the muscles that I don't really want. So we do that by adjusting the 3 sliders in this histogram. The left slider controls the blackness, the middle slider controls the gray areas, and the right slider controls the very white areas. Again, manipulate this until you get the image to look just the way you want, where some of the shadow detail is missing but not all. Preview image shows you what's before and what's after. So once you're done and once you're happy with it, go ahead and close the window like that. So I'm not going to save this image. So let's go ahead and bring up another image. This time we'll try coronal CT. Well, actually, let's try the internal auditory canal. So here's an axial image. Again, we're going to go through the same steps as before. First, we're going to convert it into grayscale. You don't see much difference at all. And then apply the filter. Again, go under stylize and choose glowing edges. Again, we see a nice line art already forming. Go ahead and adjust your 3 parameters, the edge width, the edge brightness, and the smoothness to your liking. I'm going to go ahead and play around with this just a little bit to see, just to show you first of all what changes can be achieved, and finally to get it to look the way I want it to look. And let's see, play around with that. Let's put the edge width to say about probably 2. That looks just about right, and hit the OK button. Now again, we're going to invert the image so we have black lines on a white background. And again, we're almost done. So let's go ahead and adjust the levels to bring the dark lines out a little more and maybe suppress some of the gray details that we have. So manipulating the middle, the left, and the right triangles, we can achieve just the right amount of detail, darken up the lines, and get rid of some of the shadow detail that we don't want. Again, we can hit the preview button to see before and after images. So when you're done and you're happy with what it looks like, go ahead and hit the OK button. Okay, so here is a preview of the original image, and here is what the final line art diagram looks like of your axial CT scan of the temporal bone. I'm going to go ahead and close this out and bring up another image. This time I think I want the coronal CT scan. This is a reconstructed image, not the greatest quality, but let's see how our technique handles this. I'm going to skip the grayscale part because I'd already done it before. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the glowing edges from the stylize menu. Again, we can begin to see that it's doing a pretty good job. I'm going to go ahead and show you what some of the manipulations of these smoothness, brightness, and width do again. And when I'm sort of happy with the way things look, I'm going to click the OK button. It looks pretty good. Again, let's invert the image, to black lines on a white background as we see over here. So I'm almost done. I don't like all that detail in the heart and the liver. A little too much grayscale there. I want to blacken up some of those edges also. So I'm going to go under the levels menu and make some adjustments. And this looks, oh, just about right, I think. Uh, let's show you, let's darken up those black lines just a little bit more. Before and after the grayscale manipulation. So I'm going to hit the OK button. I'm going to show you again what the original diagram looked like, or the CT, and then finally the line art after our simple steps were performed. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and bring up one last image. This, I think I have a sagittal image of a T1 weighted brain. Let me see where that is. Yes, right there. It says MR brain lateral. So you notice it's a T1 sagittal image. I am going to now, let's see, convert this to grayscale because I hadn't done that before, and apply the glowing edges filter, which is under stylize, glowing edges. We are beginning to see again the line art forming. MRIs are a little bit tougher, I think, than CT scan because the edges aren't as well defined, so you may have to adjust the edge width and brightness or play around with them a little more than you normally might. But when you're sort of happy with what it looks like, go ahead and hit the OK button. Again, we're going to invert this image with black lines on white background. It's beginning to sort of look like what I want it to look like. I'm going to convert this into better shades of gray by using the levels tool as before. Again, there's a little bit too much detail in the brain tissue. I want the edges of the main structures without showing all the convolutions, for example. So this looks just about right. Before, after, go ahead and hit the OK button. And then I'm going to show you the original and then the line art diagram. So as you can see, this works with many different types of images, radiographs, CT scans, reconstructed CT scans, and even MRs. The only thing that it is not really good for is ultrasounds and nuclear medicine images. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you.